Hi, this is Ryan with DataCrunch. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how to solve some of your challenges with forecasting, budgeting, projecting numbers, running scenarios, being able to look at financials different ways and figure out what needs to be done, what are the best choices. Okay, so I wanted to introduce you to a tool that I use called Causal. I did not build Causal, but I use it and it's really awesome. And I think that it can help you with your needs. So I wanted to show you a few examples here of how I've done it, some things that I've done, how I do it, and then how we could use it to help you. Okay, so you'll see here it does like scenarios and stuff really easily. You can put in things. So this was like a compensation package that someone was looking at to see, okay, like looking at revenues and costs and profit, and then trying to figure out the optimal amount of like compensation, and how much is a bonus, how much is base, how much do we raise year over year, how do we tie these. So you started looking at like various things like, well, what do they make, how many hours do they spend doing this, what's other tasks that they might do, what's the rate for that, all these kinds of things, right? Then things for the business and how revenue is generated and that sort of thing. We can play with all these different sorts of scenarios. You'll see we can provide ranges, which is really great. Like I can write in natural text, I can give it a range and it automatically puts it into the model in like a Monte Carlo type of situation. So it'll run scenarios like of everything in your range and give you the most likely expected output. Okay. And that's helpful. Like a range by itself is okay, right? But when you have multiple ranges, it's like, well, I could be more over here and more over there, and these different ranges, puts them all together and helps figure it out, which is nice. It's complex to do in just a typical Excel spreadsheet or some other sort of thing. Okay, so we can kind of do this. Then you'll see here, like, everything here is down below. We can see kind of the breakout. Okay, how might their salary break out across different areas? Here's some details. What do we expect? What are their costs? Revenues, that sort of thing. If I wanted to include like written summary stuff down here, I could, right? So those are all things that can be done. If we change the bonus here, then we can do, let's change the growth rate here to, let's say it's 20%, right? So you'll notice here that things are changing. As we do this. Let's say the rate here goes up, and this whatever, right? So, and maybe this is, so you can just see here as we play with assumptions, I put this in, how the model changes. Then you'll notice here as I move this, I can save the changes, right? And I can name those as scenarios. So here I've got several. What if we increase this, we decrease that? What if we decrease? What if like stays the same, but the business just grows? Some combo of the thing. Same base comp, no change in that, but then we bonus more extensively based on growth. How does this all work out to then come up with what's the best solution? So that's an example, okay? Here's another quick example on marketing to say, okay, well, we're building sort of an operational marketing model here to say, let's say we want to grow revenues by 20%. Well, how do we do that, right? Well, we're going to either need to like raise prices, or we're going to need to increase volume, or we're going to some combo of the two, really. But we've got to then say, okay, well, how do we do that? What's the impact, right? If I want to grow the business 20, to get to a 20% increase in revenue, what do I need to do? Well, there's going to have to be a certain number of new jobs at a certain amount of size. That's going to, a certain number of leads, and that's going to translate back up to a certain amount of like traffic and awareness, right? To come down the funnel. So that's what this is modeling here. So we can say, okay, well, let's say the traffic to the site is between, 6,000 to, let's say 8,000, right? Our traffic to leads ratio here is, this is like, people that convert from traffic, they fill out a form or something. Let's say I can bump this from 3.5 to 4.7%. And let's say I close roughly a third of them, right? So you can see that our models here are updating. We can kind of do the same. So maybe I'll take this from, 3,000 to 3,500, maybe I keep everything else the same, right? So then we can kind of see then, some of our financial inputs. Let's say average sale price is, 3,500, 3,500. So we can see then, okay, how does this now break out? What's our estimated revenues? What's our estimated profit, right? Then I can, project in some growth, and we can start to look at, growth trends, right? Here's flat, and then we can start to see like the scenario with traffic growth over time, right? And then our band here shows our uncertainty interval. It's going to fall within this range, okay? So these are things that we can do, we can set up to enable you to do scenarios, what if, future projections, actuals versus target, all that sort of stuff, okay? Here's a SaaS model where you can see like churn and cash and MRR, your subscribers, your P&L, right? We've got tables, so all kinds of things that this can do like a spreadsheet, but it can do them really, really fast, right? So let's just say if we were to come back here, let's go in, let's edit the model. Here is the spreadsheet mode where we actually set it all up, right? So similar to Excel, but more powerful in what I can do, right? So I can put in distributions and stuff in just a cell like this. You see there's the distribution, it kind of figures it out. We can put in, things, so I can put in inputs. We can have calculations set up, and some of those calculations, they will reference formulas like this, and I don't have to name arrays and do all of that, or use a name manager in Excel, which again takes more time. I just type it in and hit enter, and it figures it out, and then I can call it into the model, right? So, so it's a way to move pretty quickly and build really, really awesome stuff. And then we can apply growth factors and other things, right? You can see this here. So we're saying, okay, well, take this plus that, and then multiply it here by the growth factor over time. We can link up your data. We can help you look at actuals of forecasts, budgets, trends. Where do you need to be focusing your efforts? What is the best, most optimal case? All of those sorts of things can be done, and they can be done faster using Causal than a typical spreadsheet usually.